Okay. Good evening. Welcome to the Design Review Board meeting of August 10th, 2023. The DRB meeting is now called to order. Please refrain from talking among yourselves during the meeting, and please turn off or put on vibrate all cell phones at this time. For public comments and questions during the meeting, please call 818-937-8100. City staff will be submitting the questions and comments in real time to the appropriate person. Current DRB agendas and staff reports are available by visiting our website at www.glendaleca.gov. Records of decisions for all projects will be posted online on the Planning Division's website. A handout describing the procedures of the meeting, possible board decisions, and DRB appeal is available from staff. Please note that any appeal of a case heard today must be filed within 15 calendar days of the DRB decision date. Meetings are also archived on the city's website for viewing anytime at glendaleca.gov/agendas. Roll call, Lockereff. Board Member Lockereff.
Present.
Board Member Kaskanian.
Present.
Board Member Welch.
Present.
Board Member Simonian.
Present.
And Chair Chagayan.
Present.
Reports regarding posting of agenda. The agenda for the August 10th, 2023 regular meeting of the Glendale Design Review Board was posted on the city's website on August 3rd, 2023, and on the bulletin board outside City Hall on Monday, August 7th. Approval of minutes?
I move to approve
July
the
27th.
minutes from July 10th.
And a second?
A second.
Okay. Do we do a roll call vote? And a roll call vote. Board Member Kaskanian,
Yes.
Lockereff,
Yes.
Board Member Welch.
Yes.
And Chair Chagayan.
Yes.
Oral communication. Discussion is limited to items not a part of this agenda. Each speaker is limited to 5 minutes. Design Review Board may question or respond to the speaker, but there will be no debate or decision. I didn't get any cards for oral communication. So. Board or commission member comments?
Madam Chair, I have a comment I'd like to make. Non-design review board related, but something that I just wanted to bring up because it's very important. There's over 120,000 Armenians that are currently trapped in Artsakh during a blockade that's taking place against the Azerbaijani government. People don't have access to food, they don't have access to water, filtered water, they don't have access to medication, and a lot of Armenians are starting to slowly die. And I just wanted to bring this up to everyone as part of a community awareness that we have going on within our community, that this is something very important to us. And if I could just ask everyone to just please do some research on it. Artsakh blockade, I really appreciate it. If we don't act or make any movements anytime soon, people will start dying. We have friends there that have already started to say that moms no longer have access to healthcare and they're losing their children. And kids are just dying and falling on the streets because there's no food left. So as part of an awareness, I really appreciate if everyone could please look into Artsakh and see what's happening to our community and raise your voice and concerns because this is very important to all of us. Thank you.
Thank you. There's no old business on the agenda today, and then we'll move on to new business. I do want to highlight that item number C, 2508 St. Andrews Drive, will be continued without further notice to the August 24th, 2023 hearing. So that item will not be heard today.
Madam Chair, on that item,
Yes.
that's within 500 feet of my house, so I will be recusing myself. So if possible, we could agendize it maybe later in the agenda.
The one
Or
that's
if
being
it
continued?
correct.
Okay.
Just so everybody in the public will know, and that will be more efficient. But I will be recusing myself from that one.
Okay.
So hopefully there'll be quorum.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. So with that, we'll go on to the first item, 1900 Riverside Drive. Good evening and thank you. This is a design review application for a new kennel and stable project located at 1900 Riverside Drive. The project site's approximately 39,000 square feet corner lot with frontage on Riverside Drive and Allen Avenue. It's located at the city's border with Burbank and Los Angeles in the commercial equestrian zone. The project also includes a future application to vacate an existing alley located at the rear. With that future vacation, the new lot size would be approximately 44,000 square feet. The property is surrounded primarily by residential uses as well as other commercial, stable, and equestrian uses. At the terminus of Allen, there's a 20-foot wide alley and a bridge to the nearby LA Equestrian Center. And again, this alley will be part of the future alley vacation request. The site was first developed in 1939 with various additions and other site improvements made over time. The barn is located at the rear of the property near the flood channel and was originally built in 1939. Towards the front of the property along Riverside Drive, there's an existing one-story building that was originally built as a house in 1942. The central stables are the largest building on the property, and the exact construction dates for that are unknown. The frontage along Allen Avenue features a one-story stable building that was built in 1957, as well as two shed structures that are located towards the rear. The applicant is proposing to demolish all of the existing buildings and construct a 16-stable barn for horses, an outdoor corral, a kennel, an accessory support building, as well as associated parking and site improvements. Overall, the proposed site planning is appropriate. It is driven by the operational necessities of the use, as well as zoning code requirements for the equestrian zone and the city's design guidelines. This slide shows the location and design of the new stable building. The exterior finish material for the stable will be horizontal wood siding, and you'll see it's unlike the other buildings which will have board and batten. This slide shows the location and design of the new kennel building. This building will have board and batten siding, and while the design differs from the stable, the buildings are tied together through the use of the same color palette and details, including the windows and railings. This slide shows the location and design of the new support building, which will also feature board and batten siding. The project includes 2 surface parking areas with a total of 15 parking spaces located at the front and rear of the site. The parking areas are appropriately screened with landscaping, and all new landscaping will be drought tolerant. The new outdoor corral will be decomposed granite. Overall, the mass and scale is appropriate. The surrounding neighborhood features 1 to 2 story buildings, and all of the new buildings will be 1 story. They range in height from 14 feet to 20 feet. The design of the project is driven by the needs of the proposed use as a stable and kennel. So typically our design guidelines discourage those long continuous segments of building walls. However, based off the use, it is appropriate. And this will also be consistent with similar buildings in the surrounding neighborhood. Overall, the finished materials reinforce the architectural concept of the new buildings. The materials consist of horizontal wood siding for the stable, board and batten hardy panel siding for the kennel and support building, and standing seam metal roof for the, standing seam metal roofing. The plans indicate the windows and cupolas will be vinyl. Staff is recommending conditions of approval that this be revised just to a higher quality material. As it relates to public comments, staff has received 6 letters. They have been forwarded to you, and copies are provided at the dais. 4 of them are in support. 2 of them are in opposition. The concerns for the 2 that are in opposition primarily have to do with noise and the kennel use, as well as the historic status of the property. Those are the 2 main concerns in them. So I just wanted to highlight that for you guys. Staff is recommending approval of the project with conditions related to window material, frame type, and installation details, incorporating decorative paving materials into the site planning, exterior lighting details and corner details, as well as revising the proposed material for the cupolas. With that, I conclude my presentation. I'm available for any questions.
Questions for staff? Yes, Mr. Welsh?
So I understand that there was an issue with an environmental review or something that went to city council. Could you, for the record, tell us about what the situation there was?
Sure. So let me just grab my staff report real quick to look up the dates. So on March 7th, this item was taken to Glendale City Council. Staff determined that the project would require an EIR. There had been 2 conflicting historic resource reports provided, and under CEQA, that triggers an EIR. That determination was appealed by the property owner and heard by City Council. City Council reviewed all of the information provided and reversed that determination that an EIR would be required. They determined that substantial evidence was not provided that would trigger the EIR, and that it was not a historic resource.
Thank you. Any additional questions for staff? No? Okay. Thank you, Ms. Azadi. I guess we'll go ahead and open it up to the public forum and invite the applicant up. Richard Dell? The owner first, sure. Renee Karapetian, if you could please state your name for the record.
Hello, my name is Renee Karapetian. My wife and I are the proud owners of this beautiful property in the Rancho. We are very excited to be able to build this equestrian / kennel in this community. We have a very large support from the Rancho community, and we are very appreciative of it. This is a project that's more of a project of love than anything else. The equestrian portion of the property, which is almost 70% of the property, we are building for 2 reasons. One, my wife and I, we both love horses, and we feel very strongly that this community deserves and that it should stay as an equestrian property. And second, we're building it because I feel like we owe to this community as well to keep this as an equestrian. But yet, we understand very well, and talking to the community and my own experience and research, there's not a profit in boarding horses. And yet, we feel very strongly that not just this property, that whole area should stay. So as far as the historical aspect of it, it is equestrian. It should stay equestrian. But yet we need to have the kennel there to be able to afford to keep it equestrian. I've been in a business of kennels for almost 3 decades, 28 years. And I've had businesses in Glendale, I still do, in Burbank. And I feel this is going to be a great addition to the city of Glendale. This will be a landmark coming into the Glendale from that side of the city. And we'll be proud to be able to build this and have this for the community. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have any questions for the owner before we call the applicant up?
I was looking, how many kennels are you all looking to build? Sorry, I was trying to see if it was here, couldn't find
The
it.
kennels
Yeah.
are about 48 kennels.
48 kennels.
Which is not a large number. An average kennel will have anywhere from the small size, about 50, large 100, 120. So per scale, this is actually a very small kennel, especially for a city of this size with over 60,000 dogs. Just Glendale, but we're on the border of Glendale, Burbank. I've been fortunate enough to have over 20,000 clients at this point between my other businesses in Glendale and Burbank. So this is not a large kennel. as I said, majority of the property is still dedicated to horses.
Thank you.
My pleasure, thank you.
Yes.
I have a simple question. The area in the front, how do you plan to use the grassy area in the front of your property that, in front of the parking area? Do you have the plans for that at all?
The plans just keep it, that's a setback.
Right.
And so we're supposed to keep it vegetation. So
Right.
it's going to stay
Okay.
vegetation, because that's what I'm being told, that's what's supposed to
Okay.
stay.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further questions?
I guess maybe just
Sure.
the sort of the corral area, is that just for horses, or would that be a
Yes.
dual use where horses or
It's
dogs?
for
can-
horses. The
Just for the
horses need space to exercise throughout the day.
Okay,
So that will be used for, so it is going to be DG, which is the best for the horses' feet.
okay, and the other outdoor area would be the one that's restricted for the
The
dogs?
one right behind the kennel, that will be the
Okay.
dedicated area for the dogs, because we have inside daycare area, which is soundproof, but we will still need an area outside for them to have an outside area to do their business and back in throughout the day.
Okay, thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Mr. Dell? If you could please state your name for the record.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, members of the board. Thank you so much for hearing us. My name is Richard Dell, Principal of Red Architectural Group here in Glendale. And we have the honor of representing the Carpathians and this particular project. It's been a long time coming, but first thing I want to do is I want to thank our planner, Ms. Lizotti. Thank you so much for bringing us through this and shepherding us through this process. It's been a very long and tedious journey, and we're here today to hopefully wrap things up. As we stay focused on the design aspects of this, issues such as the use, juxtapositioning of the uses, its compatibility with an area, environmental impacts, obviously those things have been resolved through City Council and the rejection of the CEQA. So as we stay focused with the design part of it, what we chose to do here was keep this structure and facility extremely simple. And we emulated some of the architecture. We didn't create a false sense of history, but we played off of some of the vernacular architecture that was on site already. Evident by the photographs that you saw earlier, the board and batten, things of that nature, some of that's indicative of the original construction, some of it's been removed. Some of the older buildings there have been resurfaced and reskinned, but historically there were some pictures, and we went back and played off of that. And you'll see a combination of different materials, but the board and batten became a very strong derivative to work from, let's put it that way. So, in keeping with the architectural vernacular that were there, we wanted to make sure it was simple and it was compatible with the neighborhood. The materials are relatively indicative of what would out there now. Standing metal seam roofs. We couldn't emulate the standing metal seam that's there now because it was built and put in back in the 30s, I believe it was. Those profiles are no longer available, so we've used a more contemporary one. We've actually used not a wood board and batten, but a cementitious board, hardy board plank, to emulate and actually provide something that's a little more resistant to the use it's going to encounter over the next decades, hopefully. The barn itself, the large barn is stable. That is a manufactured product. The representatives of that manufactured product are here tonight. If there's questions regarding the actual stables themselves, but be appraised that they are one of the leading experts in providing these types of structures. And what you see before you in terms of the wood, the steel framing, are byproducts of what works best for the horses. The stable sizes, things of that nature, have all been done to best suit the horses' requirements, today's standards, indoor, outdoor stable area. So we have a covered concourse area for the horses to be able to work from, a covered private area, and an open private area for them also. That leads us to
Sorry, that noise means you
Oh.
have to wrap up your thoughts,
3
please.
minutes. I'm sorry. Let me jump right into it. Then I want to address, if I can, continue. There are 7 conditions of approval. We are in favor and will support all of them. We have a couple of questions, however. There was a condition regarding changing the window materials from vinyl to fiberglass. Certainly we'll do that. That's certainly something we can accommodate. There was a question regarding providing stamped concrete throughout all the parking areas. The only caveat that we would say is that we do have a fire lane zone that needs to be striped and painted. Not sure how those stamped concrete will work there. And we also have horses transmitting that area going into the equestrian center. So with that, we'd like to be able to work with staff and make sure we provide a stamped concrete that's acceptable to staff, but something that will work in our condition and applicable for this application. The lighting, staff has recommended that we submit lighting, exterior lighting. My only question would be, is it for the building and the parking area, or is it for both, or just the building? We'd like some elaboration on that if possible. Corner details, we'll submit those as part of the separate package prior to going to CDs. We'll certainly do that, construction documents. But outside of that, we are in favor and will support the 7 conditions of approval and wholeheartedly will pursue those requests and those documentation required for submission and get that to staff as quickly as possible.
Thank you. Mr. Dell, do we have any questions for the architect?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Just a simple one. I wanted to clarify the fencing material. On the elevations, it was showing as horizontal, and in the materials package, it looked like vertical. I'm assuming it's the vertical fencing is the final.
We have a variety of different.
Variety, okay,
variety.
okay.
And ironically, it's a great question.
Okay.
Actually, you'll see the horizontal siding on the stables.
Okay.
The reason the horizontal siding is there, that resists the horse kicks more than
That makes
vertical
sense.
siding.
Okay.
Again, every part of that barn has been methodically thought out over decades of providing this actual manufactured barn.
Okay, so there's both. And then the horizontal, what is that material? I missed that in the package.
For the fencing themselves?
Correct,
We have
yeah.
a variety. It would be around the corral, it will probably be a composite material.
Okay.
Something that's more strenuous, that will take the beating of the horses. The wood
makes
doesn't
sense.
seem to
Sounds
last
great.
long. We have wrought iron decorative fencing around the perimeter to contain any dogs that, should they escape, dogs are notorious for escaping out of their vehicles.
Right.
The entire site is fenced in, so they're not allowed to get out into the street and into the public right-of-way.
Okay.
So we've done everything we can to bring this into compliance with regard to the neighborhood,
Right.
being compatible as necessary. And we haven't introduced things that are foreign to the neighborhood, residential neighborhood. That's why everything is relatively low profile and reflective of a residential community. Did I answer that question?
It was great. Thank you. Thank you. I think that's it for me.
Thank you. Yes, Mr. Welsh.
Just can you opine on the choice of colors, the white scheme and the colors for the roof and everything?
Same thing. If you look at the historical photographs, the original barn, the original stable was white, and they painted, and there's remnants of that. Some of the older stables, a lot of them that are in the back, they're unpermitted. They're painted red. It's a matter of trends. At the point in time, what was done at that time those buildings were built, we elected to go back to the historical data and look at the pictures, and they were basically, the buildings were white. And we played off of that.
Thank you.
Again, we're not trying to create a false sense of history, but we thought it was important that we perpetuate that feel. That was there from day one.
And just to, I guess, add to that, in your materials board, the horizontal siding is shown as the raw wood, but you're intending to paint it. That's correct?
Well, the
or-
horizontal siding will remain on the barn
Okay.
themselves. Again, that's a byproduct of the manufactured structure.
Okay. Yes, Mr. Simonian?
I assume the horizontal siding would be factory finished, right?
That's a good question. Not sure.
Yeah.
Manufacturers, that's how they allowed to do. They've chosen to do that on the barn,
I
on the
see.
barn itself. But again, on the kennel, that's board and batten over concrete block walls. So we built double walls for sound attenuation, things of that nature for the dogs.
Got it. Okay, do we have any further questions for Mr. Dell? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
did you?
Appreciate it, members of the
Yes,
board.
sorry.
You
Go
brought
ahead.
up sound, and I know that was something that people had brought up. And I was just wondering, on that note, what have you done to mitigate sound? I see that it's great, just the location alone of the kennels helps with sound on site
The location
planning.
itself?
Right, but is there anything with the structure that helps to mitigate sound?
If it's strictly regards to the location, just positioning of the different functions, is that the question?
No, actually the materials themselves. Are you
materials.
utilizing anything to help the sound?
Or the exteriors?
For the kennels
The
specifically?
kennels themselves?
Yeah.
Again, that was a byproduct. We have concrete block walls
Okay.
for the inside for sound
Right.
attenuation, and then we sheathe them in the
Right.
board and batten.
Okay, thank you.
Great. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Appreciate the time.
Next speaker, we have Liz Radley.
Would you mind if I spoke to us, please?
Sure, not at all. Alisa Cunningham. If you could please state your name for the record.
My name is Alisa Cunningham. Hello. I am a resident of the Burbank Rancho, and as you've probably heard before, Glendale and Burbank Ranchos, we kind of consider ourselves one neighborhood. So I am here speaking as a neighbor. I'm in very strong support of this long-awaited project. The owner has carefully and thoughtfully designed this project to not only meet our needs, but in keeping with the immediate neighborhood. I think a lot of us think this is a brilliant combination of equestrian and canine. He's figured out a way to keep the historic equestrian aspect and yet have it pay for itself, which is a tough thing to do. So brilliant. The owner and this project are a very welcome part of our community. So we ask that you please approve it. Thank you.
Jean Shanberger. Welcome.
Good evening. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. My name is Jean Shanberger, another of your neighbors from the Burbank Rancho and also the Glendale Rancho. My husband and I are longtime residents of the Burbank Rancho, and our horse has lived in one of the neighboring stables to this property for, 6 or 7 years now. So we're Glendale Rancho converts, and our dog has been a visitor in pre-pandemic to the Carapetians facilities in Glendale and had a good number of doggy daycare and boarding days there. I'm here tonight in support of this project. I will try not to cry. We are so grateful for people who are supporting the equestrian use of the Rancho neighborhoods and for returning this barn, which has been closed now for almost 2 years, which was a considerable change to our equestrian landscape. And as you may know, the last boarding stable in Burbank, the Circle K stables on Mariposa Street, closed just a couple of months ago due to a proposed housing project. So we are short on stables. We need space. We are particularly happy to see this beautiful design. It's so much like what has been there, just new and beautiful. We're particularly indebted to the Carapetians for researching so much about what horses need. The fact that they've designed this with in and out stalls, which are extremely important to the health and welfare of horses and in very short supply in the Glendale Rancho. Choosing the barn manufacturer that they did, this is a manufacturer that when you go to horse expos, this is the barn everybody wants. We're in support. Thank you for hearing our comments. Good night.
Thank you.
Just to let
If you
everyone
want to
know.
clarify on the sounds.
Yes. I'm not sure if that's working. The first bell is actually a 1-minute warning, and the second one means that your 3 minutes are
Okay,
up. So.
okay. All right. And with that then, Liz Radley? Welcome.
Hi, I'm Liz Radley. Thank you for taking the time to take a look at this. I'm the president of the Glendale Rancho Equine Advisory Committee, and we have had private meetings with the Carapedians. In fact, we have grilled them at length about some of the choices they have made, and we are 100% in support of this project. In fact, we have members who have dogs and horses who can't wait to take their dogs there so they don't have to take them further away to board them. The barn itself, made by Castlebrook, that's like saying you're getting a Mercedes. You only need to say that one word, and the horse folk know that that's a quality barn. This isn't like the cheapest thing you can put up just to house them. The barns, the stalls themselves, 12 by 24, is in keeping with the size and the new standards for keeping horses. Back in the day, the horses were smaller, and stalls were like 8 by 8 or 9 by 9, which is typical of what's in there at the moment. This doesn't fit the way we keep horses now. We know that their health requires them to move around much more. So it's like putting your dogs in a crate and never taking them out, except when they go for a walk. They need to be able to move around where they live. This is, we think, not only a beautiful barn, but fully functional, the standard that we're looking for to, let's face it, elevate and upgrade the commercial equestrian zone. And the statement that boarding horses doesn't make money is one of the reasons why it is looking kind of shabby over there, because to buy the real estate and to build a quality new barn and then board horses where you only make a couple of $100 a month for each horse, that's, how are you ever going to pay for that? So the fact that there are dogs there, just to add this one thing, I've been to both of the facilities that Mr. Carapedian currently owns and runs. I've sat outside in my car, sorry, I never told you that, and watched. There's no chaos, there's no drama. People come with their dogs, they put the leash on the dog in the car, or they put it in a little crate, they get out, they go in, and the dogs don't leave again, as far as I can see, until they are at the end of their boarding period. It's not like constantly in and out like it would be if, for example, there were a pharmacy there, which by right there could be, zoned for small animal boarding, large animal boarding, and a pharmacy. We don't need a Walgreens there. So absolutely, you bet, we support 100% from the Glendale Rancho Equine Advisory Committee to go forward with this, and we really hope that you will also join us in that. Thank you.
Thank you. That was the last speaker card. Do we have any callers?
We do have one caller. Good evening. You're on live with the Design Review Board. Please state your name and address for the record. You have 3 minutes to speak. Hello?
Hello.
Hi, good evening. Please state your name and address for the record. You'll have 3 minutes to speak.
Certainly. You guys ready?
Yes.
Okay, my name is Sam Kirkaby. My address is 1008 West Riverside Drive, Burbank, California. I'm a proud Rancho resident, and I've been a horse owner my entire life, and my horses have been in the Burbank Rancho for about 25 years. I'm calling to support this project. This barn means a lot to me. I spent many, many happy years there as a boarder from about 1995 to 2004. And it's a wonderful place with a lot of great memories and a wonderful location, but it has been sadly in need of a facelift for a long time. So I am so excited as a Rancho resident that some people have bought the property that want to continue the traditions of our neighborhood and support the integrity of our horse community. And I'm a huge supporter, very grateful, and I just couldn't be happier that there is, of all the opportunistic development that we have seen, parasitically infringe on our Rancho lifestyle lately, it is a pleasure to have people come in and a project come in that I can support and get behind and that I don't have to fight about. We heartily support this project. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Do we have any other callers?
No other callers, and just as we've been discussing this project, I also received an additional email just in support of the project.
Okay, thank you. Great. Then if there are no other callers, we can go ahead and close the public forum and begin our deliberations. Who would like to kick us off? Mr. Walsh?
Okay, thank you. Just for the record, I did have a conversation with Renee, the owner. He wanted to just give me some history on it, so just full disclosure, I did have a conversation with him. But in any case, I am in support of the project. I think that it speaks highly of the team that they did this research into the history of the project, that they're putting some nods towards that. It looks like a thoroughly modern design, but I see the echoes of history there, and I appreciate that. I think from a massing site planning perspective, it's very well done. Having separation between the different uses on the site is carefully considered, so I approve of that. I wondered why the color scheme was chosen, so I asked about that. So I can appreciate the nod to that, because typically I would see, oh well, brown barns or red barns, But this color scheme works very well. I think it looks nice. I approve of that. And really, I don't have anything to say. I support staff's conditions, and I'm glad to hear that the applicant is willing to accept those. In terms of the questions and clarifications that were asked for by the applicant there, I think that's we can have those read into the record and edit those. I think that from a lighting plan perspective, we would like to see all of the lighting being thought through, landscaping lighting as well as front for the building. But aside from that, I really have very little to add. I think that it's very well done, and I approve of the project.
Thank you, Mr. Welsh. Ms. Lockeroff?
I completely concur. I think this project was very thoughtfully designed and planned, and I'm really excited for the neighborhood, as they seem like they're just thrilled to have you there, and this just thoughtful design that's going to be great for the community. And I think the massing is very appropriate. I think that it's going to be a significant improvement from what's there currently too. I think that some of the concerns like about noise, I think you appropriately cited where the kennel's going to be, for instance, that to keep the noise away from where the residential areas are. I think it was just done well, and I also my fellow board member, I appreciate the nod to the existing colors and designs. So thank you and good luck.
Thank you, Ms. Lockeroff. Mr. Koskanyan.
Thank you, Madam Chair. As a proud owner of a beagle, I'm very excited for an area that I could start to take my dog to. Definitely there is lacking space for kennels in Glendale, and it is really hard for us to find space. I call around all the time, they're booked, so this is definitely needed, and I really appreciate you putting in the effort to bringing those kennels into the city of Glendale. Overall, the design looks great. I think it's going to look perfect in the area, so I'm in full support of the project and looking forward to bringing my dog.
Thank you, Mr. Koskanyan.
I did want to say one more
Yes.
thing. I'm sorry, I forgot to mention, I agree with staff's conditions. That's one thing I just wanted to highlight, just to be more specific. Thank you.
And Mr. Simonian.
I wholeheartedly agree with the board. I think it is a very well-designed project. The site planning, I think, is superb. I think the way they've kind of integrated the uses of the kennel along with the equestrian uses was well thought out. It's not an easy site plan to conceive, but they've done it. They were able to put all the design standards in there, but at the same time create some separation, and put the kennel on the east side, closer to the alley or the vacated alley, which is always appropriate in regards to noise, etc. So it is a very functional site plan. As far as the materials are concerned, I would just say it's spot on. looking at the material boards, the quality of the finishes, I think, is superb. In fact, when I read the conditions, I agreed with staff conditions, but I was a little hesitant on condition number 2, which was upgrading the vinyl windows. I just think vinyl windows will wear better over time. It's a commercial use. I don't think fiberglass or wood or anything like that, which is an added cost, would be appropriate. I myself, I'm okay with vinyl, just because they'll wear better over time in regards to the differences in heat and the coldness, along with just the use. They're just factory finished. They tend to last longer. The one-story scale, I think, is appropriate, the way they've worked it out. It's an operator, owner, user, and that's always comforting, especially the fact that they're going to operate a business. And I know it's been a long road for them. They've been at this for a long time, and it's an emotional process, and finally they get to kind of move forward. And so all this hard work is coming to fruition tonight, and I wholeheartedly support the project, since it's a very thought-out design. And thank you for taking the time to really meet with the community, because just all these board, community members that have come out and illustrated their support. We know how difficult that is. We know how much time that takes, how much effort that takes. And when a project comes in front of us that has this kind of support, means that there's been a lot of compromises along the way. And so we appreciate that as a board. And that's why this project is so well thought out, because of that collaboration. And so that's just a great example. We used to have a example book of, we'd say, hey, put this in the example book of as far as projects where they've had good collaboration with the community, et cetera, because a lot of times we see contentious environments here, but this is not one of them. And so thank you for taking the time to do that. Well thought out project. I agree with the conditions. I don't think condition number 2 is appropriate, but job well done, and I support the project.
Thank you.
Madam Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Simonian. And so that leaves me, and I agree with my fellow board members in full support of the project. It's beautifully done. I really appreciate all the attention to detail, from everything to the site planning, the functionality, the DG for horses. You've clearly thought out of everything to not only make it a functional business, but to also make the animals comfortable and wanting to be there. All the windows in the kennel, I appreciate that, right? So it's not just going to be this closed off dark space for even animals need light and air, and I think that's wonderful that it's all thought through, and green screen, trash enclosure, everything was thought through and beautifully designed, and oftentimes we see those elements just kind of thrown to the side and not really thought through. So in full support, and I agree with staff's conditions, and I'm also kind of on the fence about the windows. Because of the commercial use of it, I don't see that we have to make that a condition, but I'm open to discussing that further. So thank you and good luck. So if we have
I'll move to approve the project with the stated conditions, except striking condition number 2, but keeping the rest.
I would say the one thing about vinyl windows, my pet peeve is when you have the mullions that don't look, but that would be my request, is to either eliminate mullions or to have mullions that are true, that look more like true divided light, even though they're not simulated. I wanted to throw that out there.
Yeah, and I think I saw the simulated ones in their material board.
Yeah, that would be the one thing I would do, but otherwise vinyl's fine.
I would agree with that.
Yeah. Okay. So I second that motion with that small adjustment.
With the small adjustment.
Sorry, just to clarify, so we're getting rid of condition number 2 and adding a condition that the windows should have a true divided light?
Or simulated, or fine, just,
Right, as opposed to stating that the window material should be revised to such as fiberglass, instead of trying to mimic the, yes.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
and it might be as it's shown.
I believe they're integrating on sheet 8.1, detail number G. They show an actual simulated
Okay.
external mutton that is put on the vinyl window. So something similar to
Okay.
this.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, so let's do a roll call vote. Board Member Kaskanian.
Yes.
Is there a motion?
Motion was Art Simonian.
Art Simonian, and a second.
Lockreff.
and second.
I seconded.
Board Member Lockreff.
Yes.
Board Member Simonian.
Yes.
Board Member Welch.
Yes.
And Chair Chagayan.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Good luck to you
Good
guys.
luck.
Good night.
It's hard to hear. What was that?
All right, so we'll go on to the next item.
Yes.
Okay, great. This is an application for a new multifamily residential building located at 441 through 445 West Glen Oaks Boulevard. The site consists of 2 lots, approximately 17,000 square feet in size, and located in the R1250 high-density residential zone with frontage on West Glen Oaks Boulevard. The site was originally developed in 1942 and currently features 2 multifamily residential buildings with a total of 8 units, as well as detached carports at the rear that will be demolished as part of the project. Staff research and analysis indicates that the property does not meet any criteria to be considered a historic resource under CEQA. The surrounding neighborhood is predominantly residential with 1-, 2-, and 3-story developments in the immediate neighborhood, as well as varied commercial uses located nearby along Pacific Avenue and along the southerly portion of Glen Oaks Boulevard. And directly across the street from the site is a 3-story medical office building. I think we all know it, Kaiser Permanente. The applicant is proposing to construct a 3-story, 17-unit multifamily residential project with code-required parking provided in a 45-space, 2-level subterranean parking garage. Overall, the site planning is appropriate with the new building sited on the lot to address zoning requirements, including setbacks, parking, landscape, common and private outdoor space, and additional outdoor open space. Access to the parking will be from a new 20-foot wide driveway on West Glen Oaks Boulevard. The required common and additional open space areas are integrated into the overall design, and they include outdoor seating and amenity areas for the tenants, as well as a rooftop patio. New drought-tolerant landscaping is also proposed throughout the site that complements the overall building design. This slide illustrates the floor plan layouts for the units, including the required private outdoor space for each, which will be provided as balconies. Overall, the mass and scale of the 3-story building is appropriate to the contemporary design and the context of the surrounding neighborhood. The massing of the project is a composition of offset building forms, setback entries, windows, and sliding doors and canopies. In terms of design and detailing, the consistent use of materials and colors reinforces the contemporary design. Along the side and the rear facades, the geometric volumes have varied heights and facade modulations, and they are finished in 2 different colors of stucco, which helps visually break up the massing. The windows will be aluminum-clad wood and are a combination of fixed and casement operations. The primary building entrance is well-defined with a linear canopy element that frames the entry gate. The materials include smooth stucco, stone veneer, glass railings at the balconies, and wrought iron gates. At the front elevation, there is going to be a custom-designed modular ornament piece that's made of metal. That's unique to many buildings in Glendale and will provide some visual interest. As it relates to public comments, I have not received any letters. I did get 2 phone calls. One gentleman I spoke to. Another gentleman, unfortunately, I didn't hear his entire phone number because I couldn't talk to him because there wasn't a bad connection. But in his message, he voiced concerns about the surrounding areas, uses, the gas station, Kaiser Permanente building, and the amount of traffic in the area, and was concerned about this increasing the traffic as well as noise. And he's also concerned about parking because there's already no street parking available for people in the neighborhood. With that, staff is recommending approval with conditions for the project related to the boundary wall materials and the paving materials. That concludes my presentation. I'm available for any questions.
Thank you. Do we have any questions for staff? Nope. Okay. None. So we will open to public forum, and would the owner or applicant like to come up first? Please state your name.
Good evening. My name is Jean-Pierre Baladian, and I'm the applicant and the designer of the project. I miss this place. Thank you. We are very excited of this project. We've been going through this for quite a while with the client, and at first we started with a larger building to do density bonus. We had versions, and the client was inclined to design a beautiful building, and we didn't want to squeeze in additional units. We wanted the floor plans to be furnishable, light and air. As you could see, the building is light, and we gone over the minimum zoning ordinance requirements on the side yard, the front. We pushed it further in to give light and air not only for our building, also for the surrounding buildings. And we tried to play to make this as a nice path of travel of journey, interesting, instead of coming to a box. So you come in, there's a garden, you come in, and you celebrate this building during the day as well at night too. As you could see, we had a rendering done at night. So we wanted to celebrate and be proud of this building at night. Also, we added a roof deck too, overlooking the mountains. It's kind of that you want to be in the building. You don't want to run away to a gym and just come to return back to yours to sleep in. As far as the conditions, we have no objections. Also, bear in mind that we are over-parked by five stalls too. I truly understand that parking and it's crazy scarce in every city now. And this building, we have additional 5 parking stalls. Thank you, Vista, and I'm going to keep it short. If you have any questions, please let me know. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Do we have any questions for the architect? Yes.
Tell us about the inspiration for the sculptural element at the front.
Well, I've been doing this. This is the 3rd building in Glendale, the 4th building in Glendale that I've been using this architectural style. It's becoming kind of like a signature. I think I've done 2 buildings on, I believe, on Salem and Columbus, and then another one on Milford. And kind of we're being, sorry? Oh, Myrtle, I'm sorry. These are the other projects we've been doing. I don't have the other one too. I kind of like it, something Art Deco, contemporary Art Deco coming, the flair, something different than the remaining buildings being built along every city these days. So this is kind of a little bit fun and unique for us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions for the applicant? No? Thank you.
Thank you.
And would the owner like to speak? Mr. Jim Diener, sorry, I didn't want to mispronounce.
Good evening. I'm Jim Diener, adjacent property at 449 West Glen Oaks. Currently, there has been, over years I've had this property, the wall has been bumped adjacent, and I was wanting to find out what type of wall is being put in, because currently the wall is almost ready to fall over. I have a picture to share that it is separated currently from its foundation. And if I may,
Yes,
this.
thank you.
With the large construction going on, I kind of feel there is a hazard with this wall, and I'm wondering what type of wall is going to be put in, or whether this mutual wall to be taken care of. The other aspect is mentioned about Kaiser. Constantly, Kaiser has right in front of it, where I have a car, 2 cars yesterday afternoon, says no stopping, and they'll just put their flashers on. In 2004, I started the getting a permit on the street for this section of block, because Kaiser went to $2 to park in their structure, and no tenants out of the 144 that are along that block. I got about 83% signatures at that time, because there's limited parking. During this construction, I think Glendale City is going to have to maintain clearance for all the vehicles that will be associated with this project. Like I say, I got a picture showing people just throw the blinkers on, and yet I've seen the meter maid drive by and ticket the cars where it is permit parking only, and not even bother where it says no parking at any time, or no stopping at any time, just to share this. This was yesterday about 3 in the afternoon. I've called the city, and if you keep calling, you end up being a complainer, not a current problem. I feel the parking is a problem. I have called and actually had to go to the police department personally to try to see why, when I call, they aren't responding. So I have been tagged as a complainer. I have backed off on calling. I thank you for hearing me. I just feel some support needs to be done by Glendale, because I'm sure there's going to be multiple vehicles for this construction. I'm not out to be against it. It's just there's going to be a lapse of construction time during this that it's going to have to be maintained. Otherwise, it'll be completely blocked, the street. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Diener. Thank you. And apologies, I thought you were the owner of, because it said owner of the property, but you are a neighbor, so owner of 4 adjacent property. Okay, thank you. Do we have any callers?
No callers.
No callers. Okay.
Applicant does have a chance to
Yes,
rebut.
would the applicant like a chance for rebuttal? Yes.
I had a question. Is it appropriate to ask real quick? Is how many parking spots currently exist on the existing unit?
Let's invite the applicant back up and, okay. Do I need her to fill out a speaker card?
We will need a speaker card.
Okay. You can fill out a speaker card.
Farnoosh Farmer.
Sorry, if you can say your name again.
Farnoosh Farmer, I'm in part of the design team. So currently we have a detached carport in the back of the building. which accommodates 8 stalls, 1 for each unit.
So now it's going to be 2 per unit, or it's 45, let's say it's 17, it's about 2 cars, 2 spots.
Yes, it's actually per code requirement, and we are providing 5 additional stalls.
Awesome.
Thank you. And then did you want an opportunity for rebuttal, or did you have any last other things to state?
You want to add anything?
We're excited to make it happen soon. It's been a long time, a long journey. So we're looking forward to move forward and get it to see it built like the other buildings.
Okay.
Thank you.
Can we
Thank you.
assume that the exterior wall that the gentleman was talking about is going to be
Yes,
completely replaced?
We will look into it. If you share your phone number, let's have it, and then when
I believe I have yours.
we'll contact the owner, we'll figure it out what it is. We'll take some pictures and we'll take care of it. Okay.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you. Okay, so with that, we, if we don't have any further questions, we can close the public forum and begin our deliberations. Ms. Lockeroff, would you like to kick us off?
Sure. This project is lovely. I'm really excited to see it built. I like the artful use, the element at the front that has so much transparency, and I do think it'll look nice at night and during the day. And I appreciate that the uniqueness of this design, and it's fun and appropriate to the neighborhood in terms of scale and the way that it's sited. I think it was lovely how you took advantage of the views at the top with the roof deck and provided a lot of outdoor space for the tenants. And it's modest in size. You're right. You could have used lots of density bonuses and made something quite large there. And provided ample parking, so for the neighbors, to help with the neighborhood and also your tenants. Yeah, I think that's it. I just agree with staff's conditions but otherwise support the project. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Lockeroff. Mr. Kaskanian.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Overall, I really like the design. I agree with a fellow board member. I think it's going to be very soothing as you enter the Kaiser parking lot, seeing a nice design. So definitely, I think it's going to fit really great in that area. And overall, yeah, I love what you did. It's very unique, and I appreciate not going too crazy with it, with making like something really massive in the area. This I think, fits just perfectly. So yeah, I'm in support of the project, and I agree with our staff's conditions.
Thank you. Mr. Welsh.
Thank you. I concur. I really like the design. I think that the way that you've done that setback at the front, where you've brought that design element forward, really calling attention to that, making it unique. It's really a throwback to like mid-century kind of design, so I really kind of like that element. The way that you've broken up the landscaping and everything is good. I think that's the roof deck facing the mountains. I agree with you. I think it'll be a beautiful setting and a beautiful place. Those units on the top floor are going to be dynamite. I think people are going to be joining a long wait list to get into those. So overall, I support the project. I really have very little to add to that, to what my fellow board members have said. I think it's a very well executed design. So congratulations.
Thank you, Mr. Welsh. And Mr. Simonian.
I concur with my board members. It's well thought out. It's a playful design. It's contemporary, but at the same time, it's incorporating some mid-century motifs into it, and so I think that's well received. The common open space design is done quite nicely as well, because you've integrated a slew of different kind of spaces, both on the ground level and above. You've utilized additional open space nicely, and at the same time, on the ground level, on the south side, you've been able to integrate, an outdoor kitchen and the seating areas, et cetera. And so I think that's going to be well received as well. And so these tenants can enjoy these outdoor spaces at the same time. And so you'll have a group upstairs, you'll have a group downstairs, and And I do believe that they'll be spending a lot of time here. So job well done. I'm in support of the project and the materials and the layout and the site planning, and so I support the project wholeheartedly.
Great.
Thank you, Madam.
Thank you, Mr. Simonian. And that leaves me, and I concur with my fellow board members. It's very beautifully done. I appreciate the uniqueness and that introduction of the metal playful panels in the front. It's very nicely designed. I appreciate all the open space and the ample parking, and I really do appreciate the modest size and design versus what you could have done and what the owner could have really built here. So I think it's beautiful and in support of it. And the two conditions that staff listed here, one of which is regarding the boundary walls on the property. So that would have to be submitted to staff for their approval. So hopefully that helps with the neighbors. And the other is regarding the paving material at the driveway. So I'm in support of the conditions as stated. Thank you.
I move to approve the project with the conditions as stated by staff.
Can I have a second, please?
I'll second.
All right. Board Member Kaskanian?
Yes.
Board Member Lockgraff?
Yes.
Board Member Simonian?
Yes.
Board Member Welch?
Yes.
And Chairperson Chagayan?
Yes.
Okay, great. Motion passes 5-0.
Thank you. Thank you. Good luck. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Adjourned. Thank you.